Okay, I'm here. Let's get this started. Let's see. Everything over there is turned off. Everything over there is turned on. I think we're live. I think we're ready to go. So, let's get to this then. We have a fair amount of work to do today. Hello! Shadowcat back! And we are back to work on the Eldar today. It's been a hell of a week for me. Honestly, I'm surprised that I made it to this. So this morning I've been doing a lot of cleanup, mostly inside, not as much outside. I got most of the outside cleanup done, but I mean, my entire week has been shot to hell. Anyone who follows my my normal videos during the week will know that, because I didn't do anything on Friday, and I missed my humble spotlight on Thursday as well, because things have just been kind of crazy. And that's unfortunate, because if you don't follow my normal videos during the week, for the Humble Spotlight, I go to the Humble Bundle. If you're not familiar with the Humble Bundle, it's a charity service that puts out a pack of games every month, and you pay for the pack of games and you can pick one or all of them if you want. And just to kind of help diversify the games that I was playing, because otherwise I would play nothing but RimWorld all day, every single day. I mean, there's a reason why my RimWorld on Steam has several tens of thousands of hours in it. I decided that since I paid for the Humble Bundle anyway, I would pick one game from it and I would do a monthly series on it. And this month is Terraformers. It's a game that I've actually wanted to play for a while, and it's great, and I love it, and I want to play more of it, and I just haven't had the time lately. I didn't get Cosmoteer done this week either, which is also a shame, because I love that game too. I wouldn't be playing these if I didn't like them. So yeah, it's been rough. It's going to continue to be rough. So as I posted in a community post on Friday, that there wouldn't be any videos because there was a storm that went through and ripped off some of the what's it called, the fascia? I believe it's called the fascia on the roof. So it's not the shingles, it's not the top of the roof, and it's not the soffit, it's not the bottom of the roof. It's just that pretty on the front of it. Yeah, wind just like ripped it right through the nails, and it was flapping in the breeze. And it's made out of sheet metal, and you can see where the sheet metal has literally been ripped like paper. And so by the time we got to it, and mind you, we had to battle like 20-mile-an-hour winds just to tack the thing back on. It was hanging on by like maybe a 2-inch piece of metal that was still connected. It was bad. It was super bad. And as it stands right now, my current forecast is warning that there's more coming in today. It's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. Yeah, severe storm risk. There is likely a risk of severe weather today. Wind, tornadoes, and hail are possible, but wind is the greatest threat. Stay aware and be prepared. I live in the middle of Pennsylvania. This is not tornado country. If a tornado touches down here, I mean, the apocalypse is upon us. So, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Okay, let me get over to the chat, see who's here. JP is here. Hello, JP. Good to see you. Blizzard Star is here. Hello, Blizz. Good to see you, too. I know, I kind of started off today with a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a diatribe, but that's okay. You're lucky that I'm here at all, because while I was cleaning up this morning, I was also playing with Stable Diffusion. And just like I could spend all day playing with RimWorld, to the point of like excluding everything else, Stable Diffusion is a lot like that too, because it's always just one more, just one more, just cue one more prompt, okay, and then we'll turn it off. It's always just one more. And yeah, we all know how just one more goes. It's always just one, and then it's 3 a.m. So yeah, that's not good. I've traded one addiction for another. Not great. Super not great. But it's okay. I'm going to ignore it for now, okay? And I'm going to go at this like a heroin addict with the promise of having just another shot of it waiting once we get done. I mean, that's how most heroin addicts get their work done, right? It's just like, I'll have more by the time I get done. So, last time we were here, we started on Eldar vehicles, and we got through a lot of them because the Eldar have a lot of... How do I want to put this? They have a lot of builds, I guess, for their vehicles, but they don't have a lot of vehicles. So, I mean, for example, their light vehicles, they've got jet bikes. But then they've got like 3 builds that go on jet bikes. Then they got Hornets. And Hornets are not a jet bike, but they're like a skimming craft. So it's like a jet, but it's not really meant to go high in the air. It's meant to skim the ground, to move in and around heavy armor and destroy it. And then we made the Viper, which is a jet bike, but it's a 2-seater. Okay, so super simple. Then we got into their tanks, and they've got like 8 different tanks. But that's not true, because they only really have 1 tank. They have the Falcon tank, and then everything else is a variant of that. And so is true for the rest of their vehicles, because they've got flying vehicles, but they only have like 3 flying vehicles. And so that's gonna make our life a lot easier. Also, they've got super heavy tanks, but again, they really only have like 1 platform for super heavy tanks. And so we're gonna figure that out. I see that Tux just joined us. Hello, Tux. Good to see you too. I'm gonna bring in our spreadsheet and our browser so that we know what we're working on today. And if we actually go through and get through everything, maybe we can look at rates. Tux, though, since you're here, do you mind if I, like, shout out your little project there on the Discord? Because I'll say nothing if you don't want me to say anything. But I'll say something if you want me to say something. Or if you just don't care. So, I mean, it's up to you. Let me know, because I will totally shout that out if you want. Especially while I'm getting everything set up here. So we need to come here. What are we working on first? We're not doing the walkers first. We want tanks. Okay, Tux says sure, LOL. Alright, so everybody knows that I am trying to get a proper gaming group up and running. Now, the idea behind my group is that I want to have a long-term campaign. Okay, I'm looking for like really committed players for that one. But Tux is also working on his own project in the Discord. He's trying to actually make, as far as I understand it, a proper disabled campaign. And Tux, can you do me a favor? If you remember, can you link in the Discord the article that was talking about all that stuff? Because I looked and I couldn't find it. But the idea was that a while back, I think it was Polygon, but I'm not sure, somebody came out and actually said that we needed to have more representation in Dungeons and Dragons. And to that end, we needed to cater. We needed to pander, honestly, to disabled characters. To the point where, for the actual piece of art they put in the article, they actually had what looked like some kind of wizard or sorcerer in a wheelchair. Which, of course, led a whole lot of people to say, are you out of your mind? Like, if you had a person who could not walk, if you had a wheelchair in a fantasy setting, which, I mean, why would you have a wheelchair in a fantasy setting? They didn't have wheelchairs back then. They barely had wagons. But, even if you had that, most dungeons tend to start with you descend the stairs deep into the ground. How in the hell is a wheelchair getting down into the dungeon in the first place? Secondly, how useful is a character going to be when difficult terrain actually qualifies as pebbles on the ground, or at least just small stones? Because anyone who's ever been in a wheelchair before, I've been in a wheelchair before, I'm sure a lot of people have been in a wheelchair at some point in their life. You know, you hurt your leg, whatever. Yeah, they don't like things like rocks. Yeah, they don't do rocks very well. Oh, Tuck says it was the Candlekeep Mysteries. I don't know anything about that, but I'll take your word for it. So yeah, a lot of people mocked it viciously and justifiably for what it is. Now, not because the idea of disabled adventures is a bad one, and I discussed this for a brief time in the last stream that we did, and I know, I promise we're going to get into this, but just because I want to properly shut this out. The idea of having disabled adventurers is really cool, and I do like the idea. I went on at length about my own disabled character who only has one hand because of a tragic adventuring accident. But we have had stories like this forever. This is not even new to Dungeons and Dragons. We've had stories about the blind samurai. We've had stories about the one-armed fencer. We've always had these things. I mean, pirates. Holy hell, pirates. Captain Hook, who was, you know, just like the general XP of all those pirates who had a hook or something else for a hand. The infamous peg leg, where they take a step and they go clunk, and a step and they go clunk. And you can hear the sound echoing across the deck as they march out of the darkness through the door to see what's going on deck. Okay, the idea of having disabled adventurers is not new. However, there is a difference between inclusion and pandering. And the whole Candlekeep Mysteries thing was clear pandering. I mean, if you want to have inclusion, it's actually very simple. You take them as they are, and you treat them like everyone else. The pirate with the peg leg and the hook hand fights with the rest of the crew. And usually they do so just as well as the crew because while they have a disability of a kind, they learn to compensate so that they are on everybody else's level. Not that everybody else needs to come down to their level. That's inclusion. It's you have to figure out how to deal with your problem. Okay? And yes, we will not put bars in your way. Okay, we're not going to try and stop you for what you are, but you have to bring yourself up. That's inclusion. That's saying that if you can get here, you are one of us. And if you can't get here, then this is not the place for you. So I personally love the idea, and if we can actually put together a D&D group that's going to do like an entire disabled, at least a one-shot, maybe one or two-shot, I don't know what it'll turn out to be. But Tux is trying to put together a group. So, if you want to try out a disabled Dungeons and Dragons campaign, I'm not sure what edition, probably 5e, I don't know. Go join the Discord. There's a link. Join the Discord. Talk to Tux. Tux has the information. And Tux says, but I'm an alcoholic. What if I want bars in my way? Okay, see, now we're quibbling over definitions. Those are not the bars that I was talking about. However, if you're making the campaign, you can put as many bars in your way as you want. Okay? I'm actually mostly talking about the bars that get stuck in the front wheel of your bike. Yeah, that's the kind of bars that I'm talking about. So, join the Discord, talk to Tux. He's putting together the game. If you want to be a part of a game like that, there you go. Now, on with the show. So, last time we got done with those. We did the Falcon tank. And the Falcon tank really includes all of these things. The other thing that I think that we're missing when it comes to this is this Fire Prism. The Fire Prism has a special weapon on it. Did we ever do that weapon? So the centerpiece of the Fire Prism is the Prism Cannon. It is a marvel of Eldar technology and understanding. This laser weapon has twice the range of a pulse laser or scatter laser, allowing it to hit targets just visible on the horizon. Ooh, that's that's really good. That's really good right there. Because if you're unfamiliar, the horizon on Earth, okay, and we got to use Earth as the example here. You can adjust it when you adjust your planet sizes. Obviously, if it's a larger planet, there will be more of the horizon visible. If it's a smaller planet, there'll be less. But on Earth, the horizon is 30 miles away, okay? That means that if you were to wipe out all the trees, all the houses, all the hills, if you were to just flatten the Earth into a perfect, flat, I was going to say sphere, but the Earth isn't quite a sphere. But you get the idea. If you could just smooth the Earth completely, you'd be able to see 30 miles in roughly all directions. Technically speaking, you'd see a little bit more east and west and a little bit less north and south, but in general, it would be about 30 miles. So, Prism Cannon. It's a laser weapon with roughly a 30-mile range. That's really good. I don't know that we have that. As far as weapons go, Eldar War Gear, we did melee weapons. It's absolutely not a melee weapon. Shuriken pistols, Shuriken catapults. We did the Shuriken weapons. We did monofilament weapons, and that was kind of it. Okay, that's fine. Why don't we do this real quick? Because this should actually be super easy. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to say this is a Prism Cannon. Okay? Vehicle weapon. Okay then. So, the Prism Cannon, it is just a laser weapon. So what does that mean? Laser weapons. Where is a laser weapon? Projectile, plasma, laser. Okay, here we go. So, laser weapons are just regular weapons. On a crit, they will burn. Okay. And for this is an artillery laser. It has penetrating as well. Now, the thing about penetrating is that it's designed to punch through objects, make it easier to damage them. A penetrating weapon ignores an amount of hardness equal to the weapon's level. Well, vehicle weapons don't really have levels, so giving a vehicle weapon penetrating doesn't really work. But we could potentially include the burn. So why don't we do this? I'm going to go ahead and say Prism Cannon. The range is going to be 30 miles. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, that's a really long distance cannon. Actually, hold on a second. I'm not gonna do 30. It says it's capable of hitting them, but that's not necessarily the operational range, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be 15 miles. The reason being is that when you fire in terms of range increments. And so you can fire outside of your range increment and take a penalty to your attack roll. Or in the case of a vehicle, it's going to be your piloting check or your gunnery check. So I'm going to say its range is going to be 15 miles optimally. But if you take the penalty, you could also fire up to 30 miles and potentially hit something on the horizon. Alright, damage. It is a laser weapon. I'm going to say +2 dice. Okay? Now keep in mind, this is going to be multiplied by 5. Actually, I'm going to make that +1 dice, because it is going to be multiplied by 5. Size will be any. Special is going to be burn. And burn is 1d6, 1d8. I wonder if the burn is just a single point of damage. I think it's literally just one case of extra damage. Okay, so I'm just going to say burn. And I'm going to make that... I'm going to say 1d6. And JP says 30 miles is over the horizon twice over. Are you sure about that? I swear I did the research back when I was still running Pathfinder games, and I had to look that up before. Hold on, I gotta research this. Okay, how far is the horizon on Earth? I gotta move this over here where I can actually read it. This is only kilometers. I can't read kilometers. Oh, it's from the BBC. No wonder. The British Broadcasting Communists. Okay, how far is the horizon? Well, this says the horizon is only 3 miles away. I don't believe that for a minute. Because, like, if you're on the ocean, you can absolutely see more than 3 miles in any direction. How far away is the horizon? PC Unicorn's in here. PC Unicorn says it's somewhere over the rainbow. I don't know about the horizon. I just know that's where you find bluebirds. It's like the only place where you find bluebirds. JP says, well, Navy targeting is 12 meter out as OT8, over the horizon. Should be about 12 to 15 miles, I think. Again, I don't know. This one says... on a clear day, you can see for miles and miles and miles. The old saying turns out to be just about true. For a 6-foot-tall person, the horizon is a little bit more than 3 miles away? No, I don't believe that. Geometry tells us that the distance to the horizon, farthest point you can see before the Earth curves out of view, depends simply on the height of the observer. If you stood upon Mount Everest, the horizon is about 230 miles, but that's about, that's the top of Everest, of course. Add into the effect of refraction. Don't care. Don't care about clouds. Is it really? I feel like this is wrong, but everything it keeps saying that. JP says 12 nautical miles. Look, nobody actually knows what a nautical mile is. Okay? Nautical miles are just something invented by sailors to make themselves seem smarter than people who live on land. Nobody actually knows what a nautical mile is. That being said, let me see if I can convert that. Nautical miles to regular miles. 12 nautical miles is 13 real miles. 13.8 real miles. So almost 14. That's sounding somewhat better. I don't know, maybe it is only about 15 miles. It's definitely more than 3. I know that much. It's absolutely more than 3. I thought it was about 30. And again, this one says 3 too. I'll admit, if it was only 3 miles, that would make my numbers a lot better. I don't know, I can't say. I'll go with 15 for right now because I don't like the 3 answer. That just seems way too small. So if the typical range, if the typical horizon is about 15 miles, I'll go ahead and round up the nautical miles. Unicorn says, a nautical mile was invented by the baker who made up a baker's dozen. Look, no, I am not saying that nautical miles were made up by the baker who invented the baker's dozen. All I'm saying is there was a conspiracy. Okay? There was a conspiracy, there was collusion, and I will see both of them in court in New York. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and make the range in the prism cannon 7 miles, which is quite honestly still way further than it probably needs to be. JP says 15 terrestrial miles sounds about right to me. Yeah, the T in terrestrial stands for true. They're true miles. Okay, so we'll go with that. We'll go with that for now until I can find, like, some real answers somewhere. Tuck says, I'm thinking 3 miles is when something starts sinking over the horizon. You can probably still see someone beyond that. Maybe not their feet, though. And JP says, now, let's discuss fathoms. Again, more nautical terms invented by sailors to make up. Just make shit up, okay? So they sound smarter. I suppose after fathoms, you'll want to discuss leagues. Because that's relevant. We can discuss leagues and knots and what else? What else can we have? So you got nautical miles, leagues, fathoms, knots. See, I can make up words too. Somewhere out there, there's a sailor who's going to be absolutely pissed at me. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, there's going to be like a battleship parked in the middle or in front of my house. Because some captain out there is going to be so pissed off, they are literally going to drive their frigate from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the middle of Pennsylvania just to tell me I'm wrong. And you know what? I'm going to listen because I'm just impressed that he got here with it. It's like, you know what? When someone shows up at your house with a battleship, you don't ask questions. You just don't. You don't ask questions at that point. That is the least important thing right now. Okay, speaking of heavy artillery, let's get back to the vehicles. All right, we're going to copy this. What is the next on our list? Nope, it's not there. Here. Alright, so Fire Prism, we got our laser weapon. JP says, you don't ask, you just salute. I'm not saluting. I'm not in the military. It's actually one of the big problems I've always had with the military. And I mean, this is probably a personal beef that I have with the military. And I'll admit, part of this goes back to an old girlfriend I had who was in a military family, and their house was run like the military. Right down to the usage of yes sir, no sir, stand up when someone comes in the room, you know, things like that. And I'm just like, whoa, you guys need some serious therapy. Okay, this is a house. This is not a barracks. You're not on base right now. You need to learn to separate yourself, the job, okay, and home. There needs to be a dividing line there. But, you know, it's an old relationship. But my idea that, you know, like, you should salute people in military, I'm just like, no. Saluting people in military uniform is not something that you need to do. Now, if you're a uniformed soldier, things might change, but that's part of the uniform code. Like, if you are in uniform, and you see a superior officer, yes, you absolutely salute. If you are not on duty, if you are in plain clothes, you don't. There's a difference between being on the clock, off the clock, in uniform, out of uniform. And if you are not even in the military, if you are just a civilian, it is not a requirement. And I don't care how much they yell. I don't care how much they threaten. It's one of those problems I've always had with the military, and it's one of the reasons why I was very anti-military when I was younger. I'm much more pro-military now because I understand the purpose and function of it. But that kind of stuff actually does really turn people off from the whole thing. Okay, anyway, we are moving on to the super heavy grav tanks. Now, these are going to have to be our huge tanks. And these, let's see, Cobra. Do we still have a Cobra up here? No, we do not have a Cobra up there. What were we doing first? Right, we were doing the Lynx first. So we do the Lynx, and then everything else falls under the Engine of Vol. Okay, Lynx first, though. So that's going to be Lynx. And this is going to be a super heavy grav tank. So we're going to do that. We're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And we do not need those. There we go. Alright, Lynx Super Heavy Grav Tank. Size. This is going to be a huge tank. And so we're probably going to do some upscaling here. So we'll pull this up. Also, I can't see my OBS. There we go. So the Lynx is an ancient Eldar war machine. We read this last time, but essentially the Lynx is a single-seat, super heavy tank. It is just a little bit smaller than an Engine of Vol, but it still falls in the super heavy category. So what can we learn about it? While the Lynx lacks the sheer firepower found in a Scorpion or Cobra, it makes up for it in speed and maneuverability. It is capable of limited flight. It is crewed by a single pilot who controls the craft from within an encapsulated cockpit. And while heavily armored, it boasts a Titan-grade hollow field, making it near invisible to Imperial sensors. Its primary weapon is either a pulsar for attacking armored foes, or more rarely, a sonic lance for superior anti-infantry firepower. A secondary mount under the cockpit can carry a bright lance, scatter laser, shuriken cannon, or star cannon. Control of the Lynx's main weaponry is handled by multiple redundant backup systems, making it much harder for enemy fire to render its armaments ineffective. It can also be upgraded to include star engines and vectored engines, and I do believe those would give it flight. As with other Eldar vehicles, it is constructed from wraithbone. We get that. In battle, don't care about the history of it. Okay. So we need to make ourselves a huge tank. And for that, we need to pick a chassis. So, when it comes to vehicles, we're probably going to want to have a truck. So we're going to look for a truck. What do we got here? Medium-wheeled vehicle. Large-wheeled vehicle. Okay. So a large-wheeled vehicle is going to give us... let's see. Military deuce. Large military transporter, construction crane, heavy construction vehicles. Yeah, this is where we're going to get our tank. And it's large, but we're going to have to make it one size bigger. Okay. And that's going to have to be a free add-on, I think. I don't think we're going to keep the we're going to add this in. That means you could always get one bigger, but that's going to be on you. So, let's go with base stats here. This thing moves 30, 80, and... we already agreed that this is stupid. So, 30, 80, and then how do we do that? Right, we just took the full speed and turned that into miles per hour. So, we're going to go with 30 feet. 80 feet, and then it will travel at 80 miles per hour. Good old God-fearing miles per hour. Those are regular miles per hour, not nautical miles per hour. Actually, they don't even use nautical miles per hour, because they use knots. God, wouldn't that be weird? What if you played a prank on somebody? Like, if you're like a mechanic or something, okay? If you're like a mechanic, okay, you can, like, get into somebody's dashboard and replace things. Could you imagine getting into someone's car and then replacing their speedometer, instead of being either miles or kilometers, replacing it with knots? Actually, I don't think it'd even be that hard, because aircraft use knots too. Particularly in light aircraft. Light aircraft will use knots. I don't know about bigger aircraft. I think they just go ahead and use miles per hour. Or maybe they just translate that in all their press briefings. I don't know. But imagine if you did that and replaced somebody's speedometer with, like, an airspeed speedometer. Just hook it up to the same cable and everything. And now, like, none of their numbers make sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an ass. I think that'd be hilarious. Actually, no. They're all digital now, aren't they? I gotta go with the times. I'm not sure how you do that to a digital one, except for just go through and, like, reprogram it. Maybe that would be easier? I don't know. Okay. Energy armor and kinetic armor are the same at 11. Cover is full, which means that it is only broken at 25%. So 13 HP and it's broken at 3. And hardness is 10. So the attack is going to be a collision DC, and this is already huge, so if the large is DC 11, this is going to be DC 12. And if large was 5d6, this is going to be 6d6. Or no, that's going to be huge, actually. Oh, no, wait. It'll be DC 13, actually. Alright. DC 13. And it'll be 66 damage. So that's the only attack it's got right now. Oh, I need to put up a note here, and I'm going to say add oversized. So, piloting. It has 0 and 0. And since it is going to be huge, modifications for a huge is 5. So it's got 5 modifications to put on there. Passengers, it only has 1. Now, normally for this, it says passengers, 1 pilot, 1 gunner, 10 passengers. Oh, wait, that's medium. Oh, 10 medium-sized passengers. Duh. Sorry, I had a bit of a moment there. That's the military transporter. Doesn't really give me... Oh, here we go. A template that holds up to 4 medium passengers standard and has dedicated cargo space for personal items. Doesn't say how much, though. And so there's not much I can really do about that. So I just have to say that it will hold 4 passengers standard. We're knocking that down to 1, so they get 60 bulk. Lots of room for ammunition. Now, a couple of things that we have to do here. And I'm not sure which order we're going to do them in. So, military. Where is it? Military scramjet. Submersibles. Come on. Oh, there it was. Okay, there's military. And there's oversized. So we got to do both of these. Military just kicks everything up by 25%, period, across the board. Oversized actually give us some hard numbers. So, for example, this increases the size of the vehicle by 1 step, so small to medium, medium to large, large to huge. It increases the passengers by 20%, which is, for our cases, not going to change anything. It increases cover by 1 step. We're already at full. That doesn't change. It increases the vehicle frame cost by 25%. So add over, and there's a hyphen in that. Add oversized. That's going to be plus 25%. It increases the piloting penalty by 2. So that's going to be a -2 and a -2. HP is increased by 15%. Speed is reduced by 15%. Okay. So HP is increased by 15%. However, oh, that's right. We should be combining these things. So hold on a second. For military, that is speed, hardness, hit points, armor. Base speed, hardness, hit points, EC. Yeah, okay, so that's just those. And then oversized. This is all 25% as well. And then oversized is going to be passengers plus 20% or cargo. Increases cover, but we already got that. Increases the frame cost by 25%. Okay, piloting penalty. Is -2. HP is 15%. I'm going to come down here, actually. That is going to be plus 15%. I'm going to put the piloting penalty down there because speed is going to be -15%. What else is there? Double the size, the height, width, and length. This allows for an additional modification. Right, so already the large vehicles are 15 by 15 by 15. It says it doubles them. Wait, did we do this wrong? So the bike is 10 by 10 by 10. Okay, that makes sense. The anti-grav tank. Should these actually be 20 by 20 by 20? Maybe we made that, or maybe we made a mistake there. Well, we did base this off of what we saw with the Tau mechs. Maybe we should change that. What if we do this? What if we say 20 by 20 by 20, and then huge, since we double it, would actually be 40 by 40 by 40. That's a big tank. That's a really big tank. I wonder if that actually translates. What are the dimensions of the Abrams tank? Let's take a look. Because this is like our best main battle tank. It is 26 feet long. Meaning that this Eldar tank is like twice as long as an Abrams tank. I'm not sure if that really feels right. But according to the rules, that's how it goes. You know what? Nobody ever complained about having a bigger tank. Okay? No one ever complained about having a bigger tank. I just may have to go back and modify some other things. And scale in 40K has always been a little bit weird. So we'll go with this for now. That means that at the end of the day, hardness goes up 25%, hit points go up 35%, speed only goes up 10%, but But, hold on. If we come up to here, because they're Eldar, they take an armor penalty and a speed bonus. So, because it's Eldar, because it is huge, it's going to get an additional 10 feet bonus. So that's going to be 40 feet. Now, full speed is apparently, like, just shy of triple, so that is what we did before, right? Yeah. Full speed is like triple. So that's going to be 120 feet, which puts up to 120 miles per hour. Okay? That's just base. Then, when we add in everything else, its speed is going to go up by another 10%. So 10% of 40 is 4. So that's going to be 44, but we're going to round up to 45. So 45 feet, that'll make this 135 feet. No, not that. 135 feet and 135 miles per hour. That is a really fast tank. I mean, that is a super fast tank. All right, 25% of 11 is roughly 3, so I'm going to say 14, 14, and cover doesn't change. Hit points go up. Oh, wait, we'll get to hardness. Hit points also go up by 25%. That's going to be another 3, so I'm going to say 16. Which means that it's broken at 4. And hardness also goes at 25%, which is going to put that at 12. Also, technically speaking, cargo goes up by 20%. 60 divided by 5 is 12, so 72 bulk. Okay, so let's see what we made here. What we've got here is a huge tank. It is 40 by 40 by 40, even though it is actually really flat, but it occupies the space, so we'll count it. I mean, it's a hover tank. It can go up and down. It can occupy any level inside of that 40-foot cube. 45 feet per round, 135 feet at full speed, and 135 mile an hour travel speed. Don't know if it'll be useful, but we've got it just in case. It's got decent armor. It's got decent hardness. Like, it... With only a 14 armor, it's not exactly hard to hit, but with 12 hardness, you're going to be pressed to do some damage to this thing. And then, you know, there's the weapons that go on it. So, we might actually have to come back and do some of these. So, a pulsar? What even is a pulsar? I don't remember seeing this. Did we miss this somehow? This is the Archive of Nethys. It's not where I want to be. Here we go. Let's go with Pulsar. Nope, Pulsar is not on this page at all. So, the Pulsar is an Eldar laser weapon mounted on Titans and super heavy tanks. Though similar to a Bright Lance, Pulsars are 4 to 5 times in size and immensely more powerful with greater range and a high rate of fire. Pulsars are a direct threat to Imperial Titans and far superior to anything the Adeptus Mechanicus has sanctioned for use in their own war machines. Against smaller targets, a Pulsar is overkill, simply slicing through a Leman Russ battle tank in two with a single shot. I think what I'm going to have to do is actually go through each one of these articles one at a time and compile a list of all the weapons that are being carried on these, because I don't think I have stats for them. So I may have to make like an entire page just for vehicle weapons. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. For now, though, we're not going to do that. We are going to call this good, and we're going to move on. The next thing we do is the Engine of Vol. That platform. So, Engine of Vol. Super heavy grav tank. And that's going to also have add oversize. And that doesn't have to be bolded. Now, here's the thing. A lot of this can actually stay the same, because the differences between these two tanks are not that different. The difference is the Lynx is actually just supposed to be a little bit faster, and I don't really have anything to signify that except for the fact that it can be run, you know, with one person, and so that's fine. It's a one-hitter or a one-seater. Now, for the Engine of Vol, let's see what we can do here. All right, so Engines of Vol, super heavy vehicles with the craft world Eldar, named to honor the Eldar Forge God. They are Cobras, Scorpions, Storm Serpents, and Void Spinners. Well, we've got the Cobra right here. I assume this is like the basic version. Okay, so Cobra is an Engine of Vol, a super heavy tank which combines the speed and grace of an Eldar anti-grav technology with terrifying firepower. It was, in Eldar mythology, the Cobra was the brother of the Serpent, but a short-tempered, fickle ally to whom the Serpent turned to aid only in the darkest days of the War of Heaven. The Cobra is a war engine hunter utilizing terrifying weapon designed to destroy enemy super heavy tanks and titans in a single blow, which is great, but that's really very specific to the Cobra. We're more interested in just the chassis. Speaking of, the Cobra is built upon the same chassis and utilizes the same gravitic motors found on the Scorpion, giving a similar speed. Okay, maybe we're looking at the wrong thing here. Let's go to the Scorpion instead. Okay, looking at the Scorpion then. This is more or less the same. So the Scorpion's primary armament is a pair of massive pulsars, which we were just looking at. Ooh, we have technical information here. Check that out. Okay. So, technical information, length, 18.43 meters. What does that even convert into? Roughly, if we multiply that by 3, just to convert meters into rough feet, that would be 18 times 3, that's 30, and 24, 54. Well, we turn these into 40-foot cubes, so that actually kind of checks out. The 40-foot by 40-foot by 40-foot is obviously wider than these things are, but it's a little bit shorter, so it's a little skewed, but it'll be fine. The height is only 6.8 meters, so about 21 feet. The wingspan, 10 meters, so about 30 feet. Estimated weight is 70 tons. Cool. Crew. 1 driver, 1 gunner. That's really what I wanted to see. 1 driver, 1 gunner. It's a 2-seater. It is absolutely a two-seater. So, first things first. This is going to be one pilot, one gunner. This up here is going to be one pilot. Now, because of that, it's only going to have 40 bulk, but then we get to increase it by 20%, so that'll end up being 48. Okay, now, is there anything else that we have to do for this realistically? I don't think so. Because while they're technically not the same, the Lynx was built based off of an engine of Vol, and that's what we've got. Now, interestingly, estimated max speed, so that would be travel speed, 280 kilometers per hour. Now, simple conversion of kilometers to miles. That's going to need a calculator. 280 divided by 5 times 3. So 168 miles per hour. Yeah, give or take. We're currently going at 135. It's short, but it's in the ballpark. So this is good. I mean, even if we were to kick this up to 170, if we divided that by 3, that comes out to 56.6 repeating. If we went down to 55, and instead multiply that by 3, that would bring us up to 165. Yeah, we're close. The speed increment is only 10 feet short of what it would normally be. And I think I'm good with leaving it there. So, engine of Vol, pretty much done. I like it. I think it's really good. And with 5 modifications, you can slap all the guns on there you want. You can slap on extra guns, you can slap on extra armor. The only thing it doesn't come with is the star engines and vectored engines, which I believe just give it flight. Nope, says it allows it to make sharp turns and corners, maneuverability, which other races can only dream about. This lets it steer around dangerous obstacles. And star engines, let's see, simply a number of backup and extra engines used on grav vehicles to provide thrust when necessary. It allows them to move great distances at high speeds, although it does limit any passengers to staying on board the ship, as they would be killed if they try to disembark at such high speeds. That's fine, just, tuck and roll. Okay, so engine of Vol, done. Now we get to move on to something else, and that is walkers. So if we scroll up here, we can say Lynx, gone, engine of Vol, gone. And JP says, gotta run. See you next week. That's okay. Thank you for coming out. It was good to see you again, JP. I will see you on the Discord, I am sure. Have a good day. And we are going to keep moving. So here we go. For these, we have a Warwalker, Wraith Lord, Wasp. Now, I think we already established the Wasp is the same thing as the Warwalker, so we just got to make the one. And the Wraith Seer and Wraith Lord are also basically the same, and we'll get to those in a second. Okay, so Warwalker, let's work on that. Warwalker. Now, how big is it? Do we have any kind of technical information? No. So we gotta evaluate this thing just based on looks. However, can I make that bigger? I can make that bigger. That's an Eldar. That is an Eldar. He's sitting, but that's an Eldar. And this is from 4th edition. So this one has a windscreen in front of him, but that is an Eldar inside there. Which means that we have, because we know that they're about 2 meters tall, about 6 feet, we have a measuring stick. Now, he's sitting, so we'll make him a little bit taller. But if we had to establish a size for this thing, if he was standing, he'd be about the length of this leg, maybe a little bit less. This thing is probably about 12 feet tall, maybe a little bit more. Easily medium size. So this is going to be a medium walker. All right, let's clear this out. And we will get to work. So this is going to be a medium walker. The dimensions are going to be in the 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot area. Well, no, actually, it is a little bit bigger than 10 feet. Nah, it's fine. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it as is. As for stats, let's see if we can find a walker. So I want to go up to the top. Medium walker. Okay, here we go. We did a whole bunch of these for the Tau. They should not be that hard. So the vehicle is 8 feet wide, 10 feet long, 10 feet tall. It's fine. They are not power armor or mecha technically, although in shape they have 2 legs and a body. Adding arms or additional legs requires a limb add-on. This counts as a vehicle rather than a starship or a mecha. Okay. Walkers automatically gain the off-road modification. It is included in the stats. So, speaking of stats, let's start with these. So, 30, 50, and then 50 miles an hour. So, 30 feet, 50 feet, and 50 miles per hour. Don't blame me, that's just what it says. But I guess it's just really the difference between walking and running. Armor, 10 and 10. And cover, none. Alright, HP, 3. And since it has no cover, it is broken at 2. And hardness, 2. I mean, it's just a walker. It's really just going to get you in there. So, the attack on this thing. First off, collision DC is 11 and 4d6. Actually, why don't I just copy that? Okay, but, it is a walker, and so it gains a kick attack. And so the kick attack here, it says that down here under the light police walker, it is the same as the collision attack, so that says 3d6. Although that's also for a medium walker. Am I overestimating these? I may have to change that. Okay, I'm not going to do anything right now. Kick, DC 12? No, DC 11. .46 damage. Alright, next up, piloting. It is going to be a +0, -1. So 0, -1. And modifications, because it is only a medium, it has 3 modifications. Now, obviously, because it is a walker, add off-road for free, because walkers get that for free. Passengers, it has 1 pilot. And I don't think it carries literally anything else. Nope, it says up to 2 medium passengers, a small cargo area. So it will get 20 bulk of cargo. There we go. So there's our walker. There's not really much that we have to do with this now. So the walkers we have here, light reconnaissance and weapons platform akin to the Imperial Sentinel, but with superior agility and firepower, because of course the Eldar do everything better. Standing at roughly 3 meters tall, so that's about 9 feet actually. The Warwalker is the smallest and lightest of their many walking war machines. It is controlled by a single pilot who merges with its Wraithbone core, entering a type of meditative state to become one with the machine. Okay. Let's see. They are assisted by a myriad of advanced support and failsafe systems, including the use of spirit stones in some cases, while advanced gyroscopic stabilization and articulated legs allow them to traverse the roughest terrains. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Including the use of spirit stones, I think that's actually going to be a big advantage for the Eldar. Because I think what that means is that you can essentially plug a spirit stone into probably any of their vehicles. That means that even though an Eldar vehicle might only have 1 seat in it, it could be possible to plug in spirit stones, which would essentially just add crew to your vehicle. And by adding the crew to the vehicle, you could allow them to either pilot or control the weaponry on that vehicle. Right now, I am thinking that it would be advantageous to allow you to add spirit stones to Eldar vehicles based on size. So, for example, when we come up here and we look at the modifications here, we could... Actually, this might be... Hold on, let me think about this. Should we count a spirit stone as a modification? Or should that be standard? Because this actually has huge implications. Because let's say that this Warwalker here has, 3 modifications available to it. Okay, it's got 3 modifications to it. It's already got off-road, that's free. It doesn't get hover, obviously, because it is a walker. But it's already got military for free, so it gets 3 modifications. Now, the Warwalker is fitted with a pair of heavy weapons, either bright lances, scatter lasers, shuriken cannons, star cannons, or missile launchers, giving it versatility to fulfill multiple roles, okay? So let's say that you wanted your walker to have a pair of shuriken cannons, okay? Every shuriken cannon costs 1 modification. So we can easily just say, alright, that's 2 modifications gone, you've got a pair of shuriken cannons. You can target them both at 1 target, or you can target them independently if you want. But still, according to the rules, you can only fire 1 weapon per turn per person. What if we we allowed you to put a spirit stone in the walker. And now, you could have one pilot driving the mech in there, and the spirit of the stone controlling a shuriken cannon. So you're walking, you're walking into the battlefield, and the shuriken cannon is just sweeping back and forth across the battlefield, spraying shurikens. And keep in mind here that the shuriken cannon follows the same rule as the shuriken catapult. The shuriken cannon, here it is, has the automatic property. It can fire 100 rounds per turn. And it can target up to 50 things. It has a 1,500 foot range. So you cut that range down to 750 feet, which is still basically everything you can see. And you can just spray shurikens. The Spirit Stone can do that while you're moving. Or, if you decide not to move, you could sit there and also use automatic fire to spray shurikens with the Spirit Stone co-pilot. And by the way, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't both do the same thing at the same time. Because according to piloting rules, you can do a snapshot. You wouldn't be able to use the automatic function, at least I don't think you would. I'm not sure if you could. But you could pull off a snapshot while you're driving. And so, Spirit Stones could make these vehicles absolutely broken. And that right there is even if we made Spirit Stones a modification. So you've got your 2 shuriken cannons, and then mod slot 3 is a Spirit Stone. If we made Spirit Stones completely separate from the modifications, you could potentially put 3 Spirit Stones into this walker. You could have 2 shuriken cannons plus a scatter laser, and you could have these Spirit Stones to control all 3 while the pilot is driving. Which, quite honestly, sounds a lot like what they're describing here. When we go back to the links, it says here, where was it? Hold on, skimming. Yeah, here we go. Control of the Lynx's main weaponry is handled by multiple redundant backup systems, making it harder for enemy fire to render its armaments ineffective. It can also be equipped to use star engines or vectored engines. As with other Eldars, it's comprised of Wraith Bones, which are specifically tuned to Eldar. This makes it impossible for other races to replicate or operate Eldar vehicles, and all attempts have resulted in complete failure and the loss of many testbed servitors. Okay, but what I'm trying to get to here is, what if these redundant backup systems are Spirit Stones? Why not? Why wouldn't they be? Why couldn't they be? I mean, if they can be used in this fashion, and we know that they can, is there any reason why they wouldn't do that? What does it say about the Falcon again? Anti-gravitic generators give the Falcon speed and agility. Yes. The Falcon's crew of a pilot and gunner will themselves be veteran pilots, having learned their craft on Eldar jet bikes or along a similar path, taking full advantage of these. The weapon system can be tailored towards fighting at any role. In addition to the standard pulse laser, the gunner's turret can mount a scatter laser shuriken cannon for mowing down infantry, star cannon for light armor, bright lancer missile launcher to increase anti-tank firepower, twin-linked shuriken catapults located beneath the pilot's cockpit can also be switched out for a single cannon. Can also be upgraded further with a hollow field, spirit stones, star engines, and vectored engines. So, pilot, co-pilot, and spirit stones. The question now is just, do we count them as a modification, or do we count them in addition to modifications? Because this absolutely has to be a part. And I really gotta balance this, because if I make this just part of what Eldar vehicles are, that makes them grossly overpowered. That being said, if you manage to actually get this, oh, the odds of you actually managing to pull this off are so remote. Because you have to be an Eldar to use the Eldar vehicle. You'd have to be able to find spirit stones in general. Although I suppose if you mowed down some Eldar, they would automatically become spirit stones. But would they want to serve you? I don't know. However, if I was building the Eldar, and I am building the Eldar, I would have to make it so that spirit stones are separate from modifications. All right. In that case, we're gonna need a rule. All right. Spirit stone slots. And that is going to be the same as this. So that means that you might see one tank, but you could be up against a team of upwards of 6 different entities inside. Meaning that when we get to things like these super heavy tanks, these engines of Vol, if you wanted to pack it full of weapons, you could potentially be going up against a weapons platform with a pilot and a gunner and upwards of 5 additional spirits to just allow this thing to fire in every single direction. We're now talking about boss level stuff here. We're talking about the kind of thing where if one of these engines of Vol shows up on the battlefield, you as a player may have to make a decision. Is this the kind of thing that you actually want to try and fight? Or is this the kind of thing that you want to hide from? And I mean, I'm of 2 schools of thought on that, because number one, that's a very valid choice to make. I am interested in putting my players into situations where they may have to make tough choices like that. At the same time, that's also really super powerful. Is that even something you can beat? I don't know. I suppose we'll just have to find out. I'm gonna leave it as is for now, right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it as is. So yeah, Eldar stuff just got even more terrifying. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Alright, let's finish this up if we can. Flyers. We looked at flyers. This Wraith fighter. Most of the Wraith stuff we've seen is operated by a Spirit Stone. So, the subject of much controversy, the Hemlock is one of the Eldar's ultimate weapons of terror, and to use such construct is to flirt with atrocity. Only in the most dire system do they deploy Hemlocks, for it blends the psychic ability of the Spirit Seer pilot with the synergies of the Eldar dead channeled through Spirit Stones in its Wraithbone core that functions as a miniature infinity circuit. The spirits within the Hemlock's hull can even operate the crafts on a basic level if the Spirit Seer is incapacitated, which is useful given the constant mental strain the pilot constantly suffers. Each Spirit Seer pilot risks being driven slowly insane by the whispering voices within his Hemlock, or having his own spirit join the ranks of the dead within the ghost craft, leaving behind nothing more than an empty husk. Okay, so this thing absolutely does have a pilot. It is also it also uses multiple Spirit Stones. These dangers are necessary given the arcane weaponry the Hemlock can wield. The Spirit Seer's own abilities are magnified many times over by the Mind Shock pod in his cockpit, allowing him to send out a wave of terror from his craft that is capable of shattering the enemy with feelings of panic. Just as this fear reaches its peak, the Hemlock spirits will fire the heavy D sights mounted under each wing, leaving behind no blast, damage, or trail, but rather just a stream of corpses as the victims' souls are ripped from their bodies. Originally intended to sever a Tyranid warrior's link to the hive mind, these weapons are even powerful enough to disrupt the engrams of a Necron warrior. Holy crap. Let's see. Well, it does have a pilot, which means it is a vehicle, not a drone, which means I guess that's where we got to start. So, Wraith Fighters. We're going to copy this from the anti-grav tank because we're going to need the flight stuff. Alright. Wraith Fighter. This is going to be it's an aircraft. I don't know what else to say about it right now. Maybe I can better define it later. So we'll clear that out, clear that out, clear that out. So, size. Does not actually show, or it does not actually give us a spec. But let's see. Nightwing. What does this say? This is the primary fighter craft of the Eldar. Considerable firepower, sophisticated energy field, an exceptional fighter interceptor. They're expected to go to combat outnumbered by the enemy and still establish superiority. Definitely its own vessel. What about this Nightshade Interceptor? So this is an aircraft, the choice for the Crimson Hunter Aspect Warriors. It's a high-speed craft, but it looks very much similar to the Hemlock Wraith Fighter. To the point where I'm not sure they're separate entities. The Phoenix, an Eldar ground attack fighter. It shares many features in common with its smaller cousin, the Nightwing. It sacrifices a measure of speed and maneuverability to carry large weapons payload for ground attack missions. So, the Phoenix and the Nightwing might be similar enough that we can just use them? Or we can make them the same? No, wait, because it looks like this one has 2 seats in it. Yeah, it's a 2-seater. Okay, never mind. Not the same. The Vampiric Hunter. It is a heavy gunship variant of the Vampire Raider. Does not really say what it's based on. I'm not making all of these. Now here's the Vampire Raider. So Eldar aircraft, documented or yet documented by the Imperium, and an orbital capable dropship. Like the Thunderhawk gunship, the Vampire Raider used to ferry assault forces to the planet. Here's what I think I'm going to do. All of these are basically the same type of aircraft. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a single kind of aircraft, because they're all roughly the same size. The only real differences I've seen between them is the Phoenix has two on it. It's got a pilot and a gunner. It's the only one I see with a pilot and a gunner. Yeah, that's it. It's the only one. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make one stat block for Eldar aircraft. And then your aircraft can be further customized for whatever you want. Okay? That's what we're going to do. So when we're looking at aircraft, you come over here. So that's a jumbo plane. I don't care about that. Sample vehicles. No, I don't want that. Large flying vehicle. Hold on. Here we go. Medium flying vehicle. Okay. We're probably going to go with this. Although it does say that these vehicles are 30 feet wide, 12 feet long, and are 8 feet tall. That includes the wings, rotors, thrusters, etc. Our vehicles here are going to be smaller because planes, as we know them, have great big wings, but these things don't have the wings. We're just talking about the size of the vehicle. Well, okay, they do have wings, but they're not like flight wings. They're just control surfaces. Okay, these things don't need lift. They've got anti-grav stuff. In fact, I'm not even sure if they're really control surfaces either. They're alien. We have no idea how they work. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, let's look at the size. If that's a pilot, if he's about 6 feet long, that's probably about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 long. So 4 of him, that would be 8 meters times 3 is about 24 feet. That would make it large. That would make it pretty large. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make it medium. I'm going to follow the medium stuff. Okay, I'm going to follow the medium stuff. So we're going to call this a medium flying vehicle. Okay? Dimensions. The dimensions for this thing are going to be 20 by 20 by 20. Okay? Because it needs to be. Alright. Speed increments. Now, for vehicles, Planes must remain at half of their movement speed or begin stalling resulting in a piloting check of DC 18 plus the tier of the vehicle. Any plane moving slower than that can choose to glide as well, moving a quarter of their full speed, requiring a piloting check for every turn it remains unpowered without an autopilot system. That, I don't think we really need to worry about. Number one, they're grav, so they can float. They can't necessarily hover in midair, but I mean, they can. We literally gave it to them for free up here. So we don't need to worry about that. And even then, if you plug in a Spirit Stone, you have autopilot. So for these sample vehicles, I'm curious, how fast does a light plane usually fly? So single engine plane speed. For the typical single engine plane, you'll be able to fly around 140 miles an hour. This says 60 feet per round or a full 140 feet per round, but only 30 miles per hour. According to their own rules, this plane should be crashing. So again, we're going to ignore this and we're just going to go with the speed turned into miles per hour. So 60 to 140 and then 140. So 60 to 140 and then 140 miles per hour. Armor, 10 and 10. And cover, absolutely none. HP is going to be 5, it's broken at 4. Hardness is only 2. It's a plane, so... Wait, no, only 2. Not 22. Be a flying brick. Okay. If you decide to crash your plane, the collision is right there. This stuff is actually not needed. Because it does have hovering. Well, no, it has hovering, but it doesn't have VTOL. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that back. Piloting, -1, -3. And it does have 3 modifications. Okay, passengers. That's going to be a 1 pilot. And we're going to go ahead and say optional gunner. And then cargo is going to be 20 bulk. Or, again, optional gunner. Now, minimum flight speed. So let's see. Requires 20 times their length for minimum takeoff distance without the aid of VTOL systems. So 20 times their length, that's going to be 20 times 20. That's 400, I believe. Right? This is basic math. Yeah. 400. Okay, so that's going to be 400... Or no, that's speed, actually. Takeoff and landing is going to be 400 feet. Okay, so also must remain at half of its movement speed. So half its full movement speed is going to be 70. So that'll be 70 feet. And flight piloting and flight piloting at full speed doesn't change because we've already got that. Okay, now let's go ahead and add our military stuff. We've got to do that with the Warwalker too. Let's do that for both of them real quick. Okay, so for the Warwalker, 30 times 1.25 is 37.5. We'll go ahead and... Well, we got to round up to the nearest 5, so that's going to round up to 40. $50 times 1.25 is going to be 62.5. That's going to round down. Well, no. 62.5 rounds up to 63. 63 rounds up to 65. So 65. That's 65 miles per hour. I can't type. There. Okay. Armor is going to become 12.5. That'll round up to 13. Cover actually steps up to partial. Or at least half. I think they call it half. Yeah, they call it half. HP goes up by 25%. That's going to go to a 4. It's still broken at 2. And hardness is still going to be 2 because 25% of 2 is just 1/2. So it's going to round down. Everything else stays the same though. As for the aircraft, 25% of 60 is 15. So this will become 75. As for full speed, that's times 1.25. That's going to be 175. And so now it goes 175 miles per hour. Let's see. Armor is going to go to 12. 12 and half cover. HP, 25% of 5 is basically just 1, so it's going to go to 6. And it's broken at 3. Hardness does not change. Neither does any of this stuff. So, okay, there we go. Now, this should be suitable to build whatever you want. If you want to build an interceptor, you can slap on the weapons that you need to take care of it. If you wanted to fly, say, the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, invest in Spirit Stones, okay? Do the best you can to invest in Spirit Stones. And I don't know how you put a price on those, but we'll have to figure something out for that. If you want to build a Nightwing, add on lots of interceptor stuff. So you're going to want missiles, you're going to want cannons, things of that nature. If you want to do, say, a Phoenix, you're going to want bombs. And we've got lots of different kinds of bombs, but we can do that. And that's really it. So Wraithfighter, Nightwing, Nightshade, Phoenix, all those, they go away. We did the Warwalker. That's it. We're done with vehicles. At least making the vehicles. There is still a big problem. Oops, that was wrong. Okay, anyway, there's still a pretty big problem, and that is all those weapons. So, like I said, we got to look into some of these because we don't have stats for them. So, vehicle weapons. We're going to go all the way up to the top here, and we're going to look at these. So, Hornets. What do we got here? So, Star Engines. Star Engines are just a speed boost. So we looked at this, and these are a number of backup and extra engines used on grav vehicles to provide extra thrust when necessary. Sorry about that. Needed a drink. It's been a while. So they call them Star Engines here, but we've already got that. And for this, we really got to go down through this. Oh, here we go. Fast. This is what we want. So fast is an optional modification. If we take fast, it increases the vehicle's base speed by 75%. Purchase it a second time, makes it go 150%. Take a third time, it gives you extreme speed, generally donated by a very noticeable thruster or engine system. On a ground vehicle, this would be seen as an extreme racing or drag racing system, effectively giving it 300 speed increase for minutes, double its size. On flying vehicles, it takes a different direction, giving it 300% increase, or trans-atmospheric capability, allowing the vehicle to launch as per its normal format. So we've already got something basically that does that already. Shuriken cannons, we did. Scatter lasers, we already have, I do believe. So, a scatter laser is a heavy laser weapon commonly used by the Eldar. It is comprised of 6 separate laser chambers which can be fired simultaneously or in bursts, either at the same time or at different targets. It uses crystalline power cells. Okay, we may have to do this. So, here's our first one. Scatter laser. Star cannons. Star cannons are a plasma weapon designed by the Eldar using sophisticated electromagnetic pulses. Those plasma core produces an incandescent heat of a star. Unlike its crude and clumsy Imperial counterparts, it uses containment fields not only to prevent the weapon from overheating, keep it cool to the touch. Alright, so let's go here. Scatter laser. This is going to be either a shotgun or chain gun. Or I'm not going to say that. It's either going to be shotgun or burst fire. Okay? Oh, and, well, no, it says scatter laser, so it's already included. Star cannon. It's going to be a plasma cannon. Okay. What else can we do? Because we're almost out of time for today. Eldar missile launchers. Is there anything special about this? Because we already kind of have missile launchers. It is the standard missile weapon for Eldar ground forces. Instead of primitive launching tubes favored by the Imperial, it uses a complex chambered pods designed to contain several types of ammo, such as crack and plasma warheads, greatly decreasing their need to reload. Okay, doesn't really matter. And I think we've already got that, basically. We come down here to ultimate vehicles. Dumb bombs. We've got bombs, but those have to be dropped. Smokescreen. Mini anti-personnel rockets. Maxi armor-piercing rockets. This rocket launcher creates a series of explosive missiles that are effective versus missiles? That doesn't make sense. These ignore the first 10 points of hardness when dealing damage to its target vehicle. These can be fired line of sight or via sensors at a -6. Okay, so we've already got these armor-piercing rockets. However, that being said, armor-piercing is basically crack. Okay? Whether it's a crack grenade, crack cannon, crack missile, or it could be a plasma warhead. But, here's the thing. When you pick up the weapon, you determine what type of damage it does. So, it's already kind of done. So we don't have to worry about the Eldar missile launcher. Vectored engines give it more maneuverability. Is that something that we need to do? Because I feel like that we've already got that. Hollow field is just a cloaking field. We've got that. Okay, I think we're good here. What else we got? Jet bikes. These use twin-linked shuriken catapults. We already got catapults, so we're good here. What about Vipers? So these use shuriken catapults, shuriken cannons, which we've already done, Eldar missile launcher, scatter laser, star cannon, or bright lance. Okay, that's new. Bright lance. Bright lance is the Eldar laser weapon. Wait, did we already... No. What did we just do when we first started? We did prism cannons, that's right. Okay, bright lance. This is the equivalent of the Imperium's last cannon. It operates the same way, firing a concentrated laser blast for destroying enemy vehicles. Okay, so it's just a cannon. It just does laser damage. So we'll put it on here. That's all it is. It's just a laser cannon. However, if you can put it on a bike, that means that at a minimum, it's got to be medium or bigger. That's fine, though. So that was the Viper. Raptor jet bike is basically the same. Shuriken catapults, shuriken cannon. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Okay, moving on. Falcons. So Falcons use pulse lasers. I feel like we already have those. Pulse laser, let's see. It's a highly advanced Eldar laser weapon, firing a stream of powerful laser bolts. Compared to the Bright Lance, it has a higher rate of fire and longer range, though at the expense of penetrative power. Okay, so it's an auto gun. So it's called a pulse laser. This is an automatic laser gun. Scatter laser we've got, shuriken cannon we've got, star cannon, it's already on there, bright lance, missile launcher, okay. Twin link shuriken catapults, we've already got shuriken catapults, hollow field, spirit stone, star engines, vectored engines, okay. We're good there. What else we got? Fire prism, we just did. Firestorm. Firestorm scatter lasers are a complex array of triple barrel scatter lasers. We've already got scatter lasers on there. So basically it's got triple barreled, or it's got a triple array of triple barreled guns. That's like 16 barrels. Don't at me, it was a joke. I know how to do math. Okay, Night Spinners. What do we got here? The primary armament is twin-linked Doom Weavers. What in the absolute hell? Okay. The Doom Weaver is an Eldar weapon mounted on the Night Spinner Grav Tank. It is a variant of the Shadow Weaver. It works by launching a large web of deadly wire high in the air. The web is made up of thousands of miles of incredibly strong monofilament thread that can shear through any substance, including steel and or tank armor. God damn, dude. Didn't we already establish that monofilament was ineffective versus armor? Alright. Alright. That's fine. So, we need... It's very nice Shadow Weaver. What did we do when it came to monofilaments? Okay, we do have the Shadow Weaver down here. It's that two-handed firearm. That's fine. So the Doom Weaver is just a larger version of that. Alright, we'll put it on the list. I don't like it, but we'll put it on the list. Doom Weaver. Vehicle monofilament net launcher. Alright. Let's find out what else we can screw up. Alright, it is also armed with shuriken catapults, shuriken cannon, vectored engines, star engines. I don't think that we need to add those stuff, so we're good. Okay, and Wave Serpent. What do you got? What makes you special? Okay, what makes you a special snowflake? Let's see. It's got shields. That's about it. So it can deflect shrapnel from artillery blasts and render small arms ineffective. What does it use, though? Twin-linked bright lances, missile launchers, scatter lasers, shuriken cannons, star cannons, shuriken catapults. Nothing new here, except for the fact that it's able to project a uniquely powerful energy field just in front of its bow. That is a force field, and I think we already have them. Let's see. Force. Wait, hold on. Maybe that's the wrong word. Shield? Deflector shields. Okay. So, this adds a deflector shield to the vehicle. This is a major upgrade that adds 10 HP shield stat per size of the vehicle being shielded. This is a hit point shield and not a hull point shield. They have fast healing 1 while active and fast healing 3 while off. Only one deflector shield may be mounted. It is used to protect targets up to 5 feet away from the vehicle. And it doesn't say that this is directional. Although, maybe it could be. I'm not sure. But either way, deflector shields, we've got them. So if you want to have a tank with deflector shields, you can make your own tank. Otherwise, we have a Fireheart. Is there anything special? It doesn't even have an entry. Okay, super heavy tanks. Cobras. This uses hollow field. We've already got those. The massive hull-mounted distort cannon or D cannon. Okay, that's new. Using the same technology that allows ships to enter the nightmare realm of the warp, the distortion cannon causes an area of the material universe to momentarily collapse in on itself, essentially creating a miniature warp hole. If the target is lucky, then the violent, complex gravitational forces will merely tear it to pieces, guaranteeing almost certain death to living creatures or total wreckage to vehicles. If not, the target is sucked completely into the warp. Even those outside the affected area can suffer from adverse consequences, as the distortion of reality itself can cause people and objects to be spatially displaced, potentially causing further damage. I need a second. The Eldar have a cannon that shoots holes in reality. I can't with these people. Okay, so we have a gun that essentially shoots a hole in reality. So, distortion cannon. It's the anti-reality gun. We'll figure it out then. Because God knows I cannot even begin to comprehend this right now. Okay. Even void shields provide no defensive barrier against the massive vortex weapon. Battlefield reports tell of whole sections of reality being torn away after the Cobra's main weapon fires, leaving nothing in its place. I mean, on a certain level, this is basically the same thing as just firing black holes. Except they're black holes that lead to your nightmares. Alright, Bright Lance, Missile Launcher, Scatter Cannon, Shuriken Cannon, Star Cannon, we got those already. What else we got? What does the Deathstalker have? Nothing. Oh, it's got a Prism Cannon. Didn't we just do that? I think we just did that. Yeah, we just did that. That was under the Eldar War Gear. Yeah, Prism Cannon. Okay, we're good there. Don't need that. Don't need that. Links! I know, we're running over time, but it's fine. We're just going to finish this up. We're going to make our list. And then next time we'll start on it. Okay, this thing uses a pulsar for attacking armor. The pulsar is similar to a Bright Lance, but 4 to 5 times the size. So, if these things are huge, this is going to be a huge Bright Lance. Okay? Rarely a Sonic Lance for superior anti-infantry. So it is a sonic weapon. Same thing as a Vibro Cannon, just bigger. This weapon can gouge great rents in the ground, literally shake enemy battle tanks to pieces, flatten Space Marines within their power armor, and tear unprotected guardsmen limb from limb. Okay. So, Sonic Lance. This is a huge sonic cannon. Is that it? Bright Lance, Scatter Laser, Shuriken Cannon, Star Cannon. Okay, that's all the same. What about the Scorpion? Anything new here? Pulsars, we've got it. Hollow Field, yeah. Bright Lance, Missile Launcher, Scatter Laser, Star Cannon. Okay. Storm Serpent. So this uses Pulse Laser, Scatter Laser, and that's about it. So, hull seemingly too small to carry troops. Secret behind the function lies within the Wraithgate generator it carries. Using the same vast energies other engines use to power the immense weaponry, it is able to create a shimmering portal amidst the craft's attuned promontories, which links directly to the webway. Ah, shit. Okay. Okay. Right. So, Wraithgate generator. This is going to be a webway portal. We don't have rules for that yet. Should be pretty easy, though, honestly. Alright, that's a Storm Serpent. Tempest. It's got a Pulse Laser, Shuriken Cannon, Shuriken Catapults. Otherwise, it's just a tank. And Void Spinners. If it says Spinner, I know we're in for a bad time. Amongst the majority of Eldar, the Void Spinner is considered an abomination, as it represents the most dangerous acts that their race is capable of, which is the misuse of their knowledge and power. Let's see. This led to the Void Spinner being armed with the Void Spinner Array, a monofilament cannon similar to those seen on the Night Spinner Array. However, it also unleashes a barrage of bacteria and wraithbone parasites, which are the same used in old times during the sieging. Nope! Absolutely not. I am not doing that. It is way too overpowered. And if I say it's overpowered, you know it is. Alright, War Walkers. Bright Lances, Scatter Lasers, Shuriken Cannons, Star Cannons, Missile Launchers. We've already got that. Wraith Lords. We'll get to you. Wraith Knights, same thing. Phantom Battle Titan. You're not likely to come across anything like that, so not worried about it. Hemlock Warfighter. This one had a new weapon on it. Where was it? Right. Heavy D Scythes. Now, Heavy D Scythes are a heavier version of the mounted D Scythe commonly found under the wings of Hemlock Wraith Fighters, designed to sever the link between Tyranids and the Hive Mind. But it doesn't actually say what they are. Or what they do. Oh, wait. No, hold on. Never mind. Up here. Never mind. I got it. Considered a sinister and taboo weapon, D-Scythes can rip the soul of an enemy from their body and banish it to the warp. When fired, the D-Scythe emits no visible blast, but leaves behind no damage, save the motionless corpses of those targeted by D-Scythes. Okay, this is another distortion weapon. It's just, instead of being a cannon, this is a distortion gun. Okay. Distortion Scythe. So this is the anti... Well, if that's the anti-reality gun, this is the anti-reality cannon. Again, absolutely broken. Alright, what about Nightwings? What do you got? So, armament, shuriken, or twin-linked, long-barrel shuriken cannons, bright lances, nothing new there. The Nightshade Interceptor, bright lances and pulse lasers. The Phoenix, this is a ground attack, so what does it have? Twin-linked shuriken cannons, pulse lasers, twin Phoenix missile launchers. Can also be mounted to the fuselage and its wing mounts. They typically carry plasma missiles for saturation bombardment, or crack missiles, or monofilament weaponry, such as, a dropped Night Spinner. Well, these are just different kinds of missiles. We've already got missile launchers. So we're pretty well set there. The Vampire Hunter, Scatter Lasers, Phoenix Missile Launchers, Pulsars, we already got all of that. I think we're pretty well done here. I really think we are. The only thing I can think of is... what is it that Wraith Lords carry? Let's see. Power Fists, which are just power weapons. Flamers are just flamers. Shuriken cannons, we've already got. Scatter lasers, bright lances, star cannons. We already have pretty much everything there. How about the Wraith Knight? That's heavy Wraith cannons, sun cannons, ghost glaives, scatter shields, and other heavy weapons. That's a lot right there. We have enough we got to get through already. But we'll add... we may add them. Okay. Wraith cannons, sun cannons, ghost glaives, and scatter shields. I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but maybe. This Phantom Battle Titan, what are you carrying? Aspect Warrior, Phantom Titan Pulsars, we were doing Pulsars, Distortion Cannons, or a special power glaive known as that. But it's a power glaive, which means it's just a power weapon. We know how power weapons work. Missile launchers, pulse lasers, nothing new there. Warlock Battle Titan, what do you got? Oh! The Psychic Lance. Okay, fine. We'll add that on there too. Alright, well, I was really hoping to be done with vehicles, but it looks like we're not done yet. We still gotta go through all their armaments, because their armaments are very specific to them, and we gotta get them all done. So, I tell you what I'm gonna do. We're gonna wrap things up here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure to pull the vehicle weapons out of the normal Eldar war gear so we can put them all together. And next week, we will go through all of those weapons and we'll make up the stats for them, because some of them really do need it. Things like the Doomweaver are going to be fairly easy, because all we have to do there is just figure out how big is the net that it fires, how long does it take to shrink into a harmless little blanket, and how much... Or what is the DC for those? Or the DC for anyone that's caught inside? Because, well, we already did the stuff for the monofilaments. It's pretty easy. It's just this is actual armor-piercing monofilaments. So that's done. Laser weapons are laser weapons. We just got to write down the stats for them. Same thing for plasma weapons. Same thing for missiles. The goddamn anti-reality weapons, though, that's going to be a thing. That's going to take some time to figure out exactly how they work and what defense at all you might have at or against them. Because, like, I don't know yet. But if we do that, that should lead... or it shouldn't take us that long. Hopefully we can then work our way into the Wraith stuff. Because once we do Wraith stuff, Wraiths are going to be a race and a vehicle, kinda. Because here's the thing. Your typical Wraith Guard is the size of a normal person. So you can plug the Spirit Stone into the Wraith Guard, and there you go. You're done. Otherwise, when we get into, like, the Wraith Knight, the Wraith Knight is absolutely a Titan size. But here's the thing. No, I don't want that. I want Space Reach. PF, SRD, Space, and Reach. There we go. So, for the Wraith Knight, if I go back to Pathfinder and I look at these sizes. Space and Reach, here we go. Creature size. So the space that it occupies, for a medium-sized creature, they occupy a 5 foot by 5 foot square, okay? Roughly. Technically, if they were to fall over, your typical being is between 4 and 8 foot tall. They're still going to pretty much occupy that 5 foot space. But then, when we get into other sizes, there is tall and long. So there is large, tall, large, long. A large, tall creature, which would be, you know, like your typical bipedal, whatever it is. So we're talking like an orc or a giant or something like that. They occupy a 10 foot by 10, well, they occupy a 10 foot square, and they have a natural reach of 10 feet. Okay. Whereas something that is large and long occupies a 10-foot area, but because it's long, it doesn't really have the long arms and legs. Its reach is only 5 foot. So we will have to figure exactly what size category the Wraith Knights fall into. Because a colossal tall creature is roughly 64 foot tall, give or take. We'll have to figure out exactly what that is, and then that will have to be a race. They're not a vehicle. Their weapons might use vehicle stats, but they're not a vehicle. They are an actual being. So they're going to be incredibly big and incredibly heavily armored. They're going to have lots of natural armor, things like that. It's going to be kind of crazy. So we're going to do our vehicles, and then Wraiths will kind of ease us out of vehicles, and then we still have to do Eldar paths. And when we take care of the Eldar paths, I think that'll do it for us. And then we can move on to probably psychic stuff, since so much of the Eldar are really focused on psychic abilities. But, that being said, we're going to go ahead, we're going to end it here. We're going to take a break. Next week, I will have a lecture prepared. I'm already working on it, so I should have something for it. It's going to be kind of a heady subject. It's going to be very philosophical, very intellectual. Not too political or anything like that, but it's going to have a lot of implications as to what's going on right now. So if you're into the lectures, next Saturday there will be one. Otherwise, next Sunday we'll be back for the tabletop stream. We'll finish up hopefully the vehicle weapons and do the wraiths, and it will be fun. So if you want to be here for that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. That way you get notifications when they're ready to come out. If you know somebody else who's also into tabletop gaming or Warhammer or Starfinder or anything like that, share the video with them. It'll be worth your time. Otherwise, though, if you just like me, you like what I'm doing, you want to make me feel good, leave a like on the video, because I'm on YouTube, which means that pretty much the entirety of my self-worth is derived by that little like button. So press the thumbs up, press the like button for me. Leave comments if you want to. Join the Discord if you want to, especially if you want to play with us, because now there's even more games that are trying to set up. So if you want to be a part of any kind of tabletop game, join us on the Discord. Hope to see you there. And if not there, I will see you next time. And until then, take care.